Hi guys, I've got a few friends I want to introduce you to. Obviously a few you may have seen in these other videos, but Zaina, why don't you just introduce yourself? And then we'll just go down the line.
Oh wow, okay. Well, I'm Zaina Greene, and I'm here with these ladies.
Jessica Satterfield. Elizabeth McAbee.
And we just want to share for a few minutes about what worship is, how we would define it, and what it looks like practically in our lives. So I'm just going to start our conversation off by saying that for me, worship is me aligning everything that I am with who He is. It's me aligning my heart, my mind with who the Father is and what the Word says about Him. And regardless of what I feel emotionally, what's going on in life, it's me choosing, no, this is true of the Lord, regardless of what's happening in life. And practically for me, that looks like making time to spend with Him. You know, I'm a student of the Scriptures, spend time in His Word, and beyond that, not just looking for random tokens or nuggets, but just being a student of His Word and finding out what He says about Himself in Scripture. And not just reading it like it's a history book, but reading it and believing it. This is the God that I call Father. This is who He is. So it's aligning my heart, engaging my heart with what the Word actually says. And it also looks like prayer and declaring things to be true from His Word over my life. And, we can talk more about this later, but I realized as I was thinking about us having this conversation that for me, worship is just as much engaging in certain things as it is disengaging from other things. And by that, I mean rest is a tremendous component of worship. When I worship, that means that I choose not to speculate and try to brainstorm my way through the future or figure out my life and the answers that I'm searching for. When I choose to rest and keep a posture of rest in my heart, I'm attributing worth to Him and saying, He is God, I am not, He has it figured out, I don't have to have it figured out. I'm leaning into Him. He is going to clue me in about what I need to know, when I need to know it. So I can rest not because I've got this on my own or because I have everything figured out, but because He does. And I'm in intimacy with Him. I'm in relationship with Him, and He's for me. And so I think for me that's a huge thing, is that worship is engaging in certain things, sure, to align my heart with the heart of God, but it's also resisting a lot of things, because there's a pull in our world to worry, to speculate, to get into fear, to brainstorm, to figure out everything on your own. So worship is equally saying, no, there's a boundary around my life, and I rest, I trust in the bigness of God and that He is for me. So I don't know if you guys might have something to add to that, what it looks like practically for you to worship.
I thought of two things. My first was surrender. Just whatever it is in my life, whether it's that I need to rest, whether it's that I just need to focus on Him and put down whatever it is that's in my way. Surrendering to me is a lot with worship. Just stopping my day or putting down, the thing that's distracting me or the fact that I'm too busy or whatever. It's just surrendering my life for that moment to do whatever it is He's calling me to do. And then the other thing that I just thought of when you were talking was just aligning with Him being Father. Instead of seeing Him as something distant or seeing Him as something that's not close or connected, seeing Him as Father. So worshiping Him as my Father with intimacy and not something that's just so big and so great that I just couldn't possibly know Him, or I couldn't possibly see Him, or I couldn't possibly be connected to Him. But just having that posture of, I'm your daughter and you're my Father, and I can come to you with anything, and I can lay it before you. So those are the two things I thought of.
That's good.
My 2-year-old we had this conversation this week. What is worship, and what does worship look like? And I wanted her so badly to grasp that worship is the way we live. And it's a posture of our heart. And it's a posture of us reaching up to a Father who supplies all that we need, and He's the one who is before all things, and He holds all things together. And so what I really wanted her to grasp is that, yes, we sing songs, and that's a way that we worship. And we spend time with Him in His Word, and but we can worship by being outside or being alone, or I've just found, like, practically for me, the small things that I feel are small, I use that as like a sacrifice of praise to Him. So I'm cleaning my kitchen, and I'm washing dishes for my family, and I'm offering that as, Lord, this is unto You. And this is a small thing, but this is something in the mundane that is just glorious. And I think worship for me is those small things that are agreeing, like what you said with Him, that you are big, and yes, like you are good, and it is so funny to see her take that, the 2-year-old little self, but if she can grasp that, if we can understand that worship is a posture in which we live, and it's not just a one experience, or it's not like something that we necessarily do, but it's a posture of our heart. Like, where is our heart aligning with the Spirit, worshiping the Father.
That's awesome. Yeah. I like what you said too about it's a posture, and like the day-to-day, like everything can be done unto the Lord. And I think if we're living that way and cultivating a heart of worship in our own life, when we get there on Sunday mornings and we're singing the songs, and in a lot of congregations you just see people standing around staring, not singing, not knowing what to do at that part of the service. And I think it's just this lack of knowing what worship even is. When we have that going on in our own lives, and we're encountering His goodness, you're ready to sing. You've got a song in your heart, and you're not there to watch like a concert of somebody who's a gifted musician and just spectate. You're there to, Jesus is the superstar, so I'm attributing worth to Him. I'm not here to watch any person. I'm here to engage and to worship. So, and obviously, it's not the only way that we worship, but I think our life alone with God is what fuels that expectancy and that intimacy that can be experienced in a Sunday morning service when we're quote unquote singing songs. So
I think also just being aware, and not so caught up in the mundane that we're not paying attention to what He's doing. I remember recently I was really trying to focus on not getting so caught up and just taking time for Him every day. And one thing I really felt like He was telling me to do was watch His sunsets. And so for several days, like as soon as I saw a sunset, I'd run outside and watch, and to me that was a time of worship, like just to stop and pay attention to Him and the vastness of what He's created and who He is and what picture He was painting for us that night, just paying attention to Him. And not being so caught up in the day-to-day stuff that we don't realize how much He's in every moment. That's something else I thought of when you were talking about that.
that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. You good?
Well,
Do we want to restart it, or does it matter? I used to see, like, when I hear the word worship, I would only see it as like congregation with your church on Sunday or on Wednesday, like that's when you would worship. But it wasn't until like that wasn't enough, like I had to have God more by myself, like He was that was like the only time, like it had to be me and Him. And I don't know, I do better processing it loud first before.
It's good. Like, I agree. I think that's what most people
Think worship
think
is.
Right.
worship is.
Yeah.
We worship by Sunday morning. In fact, people love posting it on social media. Worshiping my God at fill in the blank church. I see this at least a lot in my newsfeed on Sundays. And it's true. You are worshiping. You're acknowledging the
Right.
Sabbath and you're going to a house of worship. You are. But I do think among many there's a mentality that those are the boundaries of worship, is going to a building, to a church, when in fact under the new covenant we are the
church.
temple of God. We are the
Yeah.
church. And so they think of worshiping as I go, I may watch a musician sing, I may give an offering or a tithe, and then I'll sit and spectate as someone speaks, and that somehow is worship. So that's really the heart of why we're sharing, is exactly, the mentality that Elizabeth was mentioning, is
Right.
so many have grown up thinking that to worship is to go to a building and do something, and honestly it can really just get entirely disconnected from the God of the universe that this whole thing is supposed to be about. So that's really the heart of what we're sharing here, is to just talk about what it looks like in our lives, that it is something real to us. It's something that's changed us. It's something that has brought great life and fuels our very lives, honestly. So